All right, what's up, Zox fam? We are back with some more Etheria Restart. Now, we have the developers update that was just dropped. Shout out to the chat for letting me know because I wasn't paying attention to it. But what we got going on, hopefully, is some news we've been waiting for. And it literally says what is next in Etheria Restart. So we're going to go through this. I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and opinions. We're gonna maybe double take a couple of these things because sometimes I can't read, but we gonna try here. All right. So all right, it says, "Hey hyperlinkers, we know it's been They said, "Hey there, it's us." It says, "We know it's been a while since you've heard from us directly, and we want to start by saying thank you for sticking with us." Seriously. So all of us here believe strongly in long-term success of this game, and we want you to know that we're not going anywhere. And I think that's actually kind of important for them to state, because I think some people always go the Doom Posty EOS route, and that's not always the case, but I digress. So it says, "We've seen your feedback, especially around our communication, game balance, time investment issues, PvP meta, events, and much more. We're making major strides behind the scenes to keep improving the game using your feedback and our own experience, personal experiences as the driver." It says, "Today we want to give you a transparent look at what's coming." So is this like roadmap-y? Okay. So what is actively in progress and how your voice is shaping the future of the game. Okay. So number one, improving communication and community involvement. All right. It says we're committing to more active dialogue within the community. Today's post is the first, and when important opportunities arise, we'll be empowering community discussion on specific topics that we need feedback on. For example, later on in this post, we'll be discussing the RTA meta, and we'll be asking for your thoughts and contributions on the topic for us to read so that we don't make decisions that may be out of touch with the general player base. Previously, we had nerf revelation due to many community complaints, but this came with many consequences and has given us more to correct. Which, you know what's crazy? Somebody just mentioned that. We were just talking about that with, instead of revelation being nerfed by the 30%, it should have been like around that 11, 18%. Because in reality, it was like, yeah, revelation was a thing, but it didn't change the fact that BB was a thing. So BB was a thing, and you didn't really have anything to deal with BB as much. So now BB is wreaking havoc. And so it leads to this, right? Which makes sense. So we might be seeing an adjustment with that, possibly, right? But let's continue. Now, it also goes to say that we want to be very careful forward, or I guess moving forward, with balancing out the meta, and hearing your voices in constructive detail will be very important for our topics like these, especially as the experience between top players and casual players can differ greatly and create a complex challenge to overcome. So that's true. Like we talked about earlier in the stream, that's one of the things that, like, when you're trying to make a decision according to like the 10% of the top players in the game doing RTA versus the casuals that might make up 90 to 80% of the rest of the player base, right? So that's something that I think that the more that they communicate, we'll have less issues where we'll be kind of like being on one side of the spectrum, and we'll be more in the middle ground with that type of stuff. Because I think like that's one of the things, is that now that players are starting to push more into PvP, they're running into that issue where now they can't deal with certain things or counter it properly, which I think, that's kind of a thing too. But it says, of course, these moments won't be happening all the time, but there are sure to be scenarios like the ones above that require greater detailed focus. And we want to know, and we want you to know, this is something we believe to be important. Now, time sync solutions in process. Okay, let's see. So we hear you. The in-game grind can feel like a chore sometimes. Oh boy. Especially when there are many tasks and event activities to complete each day alongside regular gear and shell farming. Our team is currently trying to figure out the best solution for this, especially for our long-term players. We're exploring ways to preserve the health of early game autoing while introducing smarter, less time-intensive farming options for the later game. Increasing available auto clears in the earlier game can be risky, as new players tend to be less efficient with using resources until they have more knowledge and experience. That's something that, I mean, it's like you kind of can't help it because it always comes with the territory. Like you can try to force the game to be more demanding of making people learn, but at the end of the day, people I've seen at endgame will make a conscious decision on whether or not they want to learn something or not. There's still people that play E7 every single day and they still can tell you any strategies for PvP. It's just because they don't want to learn it. And so it's like you can leave it there as an option for people to learn. I feel like it's always easier to do that, and it's usually received a lot better than forcing players into feeling like they have to do something, because a lot of the times some players, they don't really care to be efficient. They just want to play. So it's just like, just let people do what they want to do, I guess, at the end of the day. And at that point, it kind of does create like, and I can see that window where like then people will complain like, oh, but I didn't know that was a waste. But hey, man, like you can't have both. So you got to pick one. But hey, that's cool at least to see that they're acknowledging that though. So with that, it says, if you guys have any ideas you would like us to consider that keeps this in mind, feel free to submit feedback threads specifically addressing this topic. If you guys haven't, if you're not in the Discord, the official Discord that I'm mentioning, make sure you guys join there, because they often have conversations that start there that people don't even realize are happening, that talks about a lot of the different things that they're thinking about even considering presenting to us. So that's kind of a firsthand place that you can even be a part of the conversation and just kind of giving your personal feedback if you haven't done so already. Now, the next thing that they go to talk about is Ember Trek, which I'm interested in because I just told you guys I did 2 rotations and I just wanted to like literally like shoot myself off of a cliff. I'm like, dude, I gotta do this again. But it says, we know many of you have been sharing feedback and commenting on your fears of having to continually repeat this game mode in the long term. We do believe having a game mode where you're able to see the main characters and Chiaku interact and move around is important, but we also understand that some middle ground needs to be found here. Our current solution is that we will be implementing next reset, or will be implemented next reset, will be the ability to auto clear previously completed levels under the normal difficulty. I will take that. So you will only need to fight the last boss floor manually. For now, hard difficulty will still require manual gameplay. This will be our upcoming patch note as well. That's a W, okay? Because I think that what this does is it's setting the tone for, it's the idea that I've accomplished something and now I get to kind of reap the benefits of that. So making it now where, okay, I don't have to worry about the super easy stuff, because when you really think about it, if you've gone 2 rotations already and you've cleared Ember Trek, that means that you have the account to basically clear it, right? Like, because even the effects, like they do a little something, but it's not throwing you so far off that you're not able to actually do it anymore. Like, it's not like, oh man, that rotation just completely murdered me, I couldn't even get there. Like, no, you're still able to do it. And so I think alleviating that, I don't think, like, granted, there's plenty of people who probably argue they hate running around, but I think it is fair to have that middle ground there. So it just makes it a lot more digestible. So that's also a goal for people that haven't beat normal yet, is that I finally can get to the goal of beating normal and I only have to ever worry about doing hard difficulty. So I like that a lot personally. Now, Announcing Echoes plus Union Boss, these 2 will be supporting 5 times battle. Okay. All right, cool. So the thing is though, I don't know if that necessarily addresses the long form fights, because some fights I will say you have to manual. So there is that. Union Boss, that's great. Innocent Echoes though, I mean, it's still hard. Like, and you're not necessarily autoing some of those. You're like actually sending in those manual, depending on what what you have on your account. But hey, five times works, I guess. So yeah, I mean, hey, I'll take 5 times. I'm not complaining about 5 times. He said other spots already have 5 times. If it's possible, then why isn't it an option in literally everything? Yeah, no, that's true. I do agree with that. That's very, very true. Yeah, I can definitely see that, but I feel like for Innocent Echo, it's not just that it takes long, it's actually hard. So you're just sitting there doing it, right? Like, so 5 times is going to help for maybe some of the fights that you can auto, but yeah, there's definitely going to be some where you're actually sitting there playing it. But, That's like all first time clear stuff for the most part, and you never have to think about the previous stages. So I guess it doesn't really matter too much. But yeah. Now the third thing here, it says a healthier monetization approach. Okay, so this is what I was talking about before, is that anytime decisions are being made, monetization is always a part of the conversation in gachas. It's never not a conversation. So it says we're actively working on more rewarding, player-friendly monetization options, the kind that feel good to support and enhance your enjoyment of the game while respecting your time. Future purchases will focus on more value, choice, and utility. Some ideas we have are something that would involve both gameplay benefits and resource rewards, offering cheap daily stamina packs, and potentially adjustments to what is currently available in our weekly shops. Now, it says, feel free to suggest ideas in our feedback section as well. Now, I think that with this, there's a lot of different directions they can go, which obviously the next thing they say is Animus skins, which it says, we know. Like, they know, yeah, they're not that good. We need some new ones. But it says a few unique Animus skins are already in the works, which, if I'm being 100% real, in a game where it's all about flair, showing off, like, I'm this rank in PvP, I have these badges. Skins plays a big part in that. And even like incorporating things like banners or badges and things of that nature, like that can easily coincide into battle passes that people, they get like a special one because they purchased it or something. Like, people love that type of crap. So that's something, they did hear Ms. Zox, because she definitely was complaining about this. Like, that's easy money. I'm watching games that are literally AFK making bank off of skins, dude, and thought out skins at that. Like, not just the reskins that we've been getting, but skins that actually like make the character feel like a whole nother character, maybe from a different game. Like, that could make tons of money. And I think that the more that they push that, that's also going to create what I feel like the game's kind of lacked. It's something that you kind of want players to feel in a gacha game, is you want them to feel connected, right? The more that you can connect or sell a character to a person, the more likely they are to try to get the character, to try to get the skin for the character. Like, if there's nothing really connecting them, like unit drops and it is like, okay, like, like why do I care, right? You have to make people actually care. And I feel like those things, like a really cool skin, just tying that person more into the world or to that character is easily gonna make more money. It's kind of self-explanatory at that point. But going into number 5, it says PvP meta and real-time arena considerations. So here we go. All right. PvP has been a hot topic, and we're taking it seriously as it will be the core of our game for years to come. We'll be collaborating directly with top RTA players in a wider community to evaluate and address meta concerns. I think that's always really good. A lot of games I've played as a top player, it's always best practices to utilize your community, because who knows your game as well as you do other than people that are spending the exact amount of time you are, if not more, and what's going on with the game, if we're being real, right? So it says a mid-season balance patch is under heavy consideration. Although we have stated previously that we would only make adjustments between seasons, we have already shown just recently with Lilium that we are open to adjustments as long as it feels necessary or something has not met our design expectations. Back to the original topic, after receiving lots of feedback from our community, we believe it may be better to avoid 2 months to fix major pain points given current feelings towards RTA. I thought that was going to be the case anyway, because to be honest, if the game has like a fix that the game needs, waiting 2 months is kind of terrible, because that means that, like, if you let something fester, there's a couple of things that comes with that. It starts to make people feel like, okay, well, this is going to be around for X amount of time, so I might as well invest into it. And that thought process isn't really wrong, because if it's going to be around for 2 months, I might as well. But I think now this is going to make people a little bit more cautious with like investing into things too early, so that they can make sound decisions on what is actually going to be in the game. And it's also kind of setting the expectation too on what they want things to be versus not. So that things aren't that, like, say something super abusive, people don't just start building that abusive thing just because it's abusive thing for the next 2 months, right? So I feel like that you nip that in the bud as soon as possible, so that these issues aren't really as big. And then also, I feel like if they correct them, having a mid-season correction, it will shorten the time window of if they made a correction that they need to adjust because maybe that correction was too much or not enough. That seasonal end adjustment that they're going to be doing, or that final adjustment, is going to basically shorten the window. So then you can kind of collect whatever feedback data you need, and then you're able to refix or readjust whatever it is. Because I feel like that's kind of what we were dealing with some of these characters that got buffed. It just was so long for them to get those buffs. So a lot of people just was like, hey man, I ain't even doing that right now. Like forget it, forget about it. But let me see where I was at. It says, all right, so please let us know your thoughts about this in our feedback channels. In general, we would like to stick to our original plan to make most major changes between seasons. So our future development, we will keep this in mind. Or will keep this in mind. In our last season adjustments, we had nerf Revelation due to many complaints and it feeling unfun and demotivating for players, especially in lower ranks of RTA. Although this change was heavily requested within the community, it came with with unexpected consequences that allowed the bruiser meta to dominate, which we are feeling right now. So unfortunately, sometimes during testing, we may not always be able to predict exactly how a meta with hundreds of thousands of players will develop, giving us a sign that we need to be more directly involved in our player base when making these decisions. Many would argue the current meta is much less engaging than the previous season. And we want to fix this as soon as possible if no solutions are being found with what tools are currently available. Now, what I will speak to is that there's a statement that I heard somebody actually make in the world chat. Shout out to the world chat, man. But somebody made a statement that really fast matches are like say like a match ends in 2 seconds. That's no fun. But also being in a match for like 45 minutes is no fun either. So it's like trying to find that middle ground is kind of like where you want things to be. But I think even more so on the important note of like counter meta, I think that a lot of it is just like really honestly listening, like I said, to the core players that are actually playing the game. I will say there are a lot of players that do also consider the general player base, right? Because I think even just talking to you guys, one of the biggest things wasn't so much that Revelation was just oppressive. It was just the fact that people didn't have the ability to actually build into countering it yet. So that's why it felt oppressive. So I think that sometimes, like, instead of like directly facing things with, or directly, approaching things with like, oh, let's just nerf this, or, do whatever to just like not make it as impactful. I think like accessibility is also a thing sometimes too. And that could have been maybe the solution at that point in time. Granted, we're at where we're at now, but I feel like that again was like really the biggest thing. It was like accessibility to building the counter versus like the counter not really existing. And even with a slight nerf, I think like we all kind of have agreed at this point that like the 30% was kind of excessive. Like it definitely made it not as impactful. Really honestly not impactful at all, because now bruisers just don't care. And BB meta is reigning dominant right now. So yeah, there's that. But the next thing they're going to say is, given that, we encourage that you create feedback posts giving your thoughts about what a potential mid-season balance patch should look like. We should appreciate input from both high-level players and those who are more casual. Let us know what experience feels like in detail and what rank you are when creating a thread in this topic. We're open to exploring and considering many ideas, whether it be something like nerfing Bloodbath slightly. They said slightly in PvP only, and bumping unused DPS shells, or even something like reverting our previous Revelation nerf if it is requested enough. This is actually kind of important though, because I'm gonna be real, like I'm gonna be 100% honest. Like, this is the opportunity, which a lot of games don't really give this opportunity, but it seems like they're leaning into what I feel like a game I used to cover super heavily, the first Ascendant did, and it actually led to them having more success than not. And as much as people will like talk junk about that game, they'll call it all types of gooner game, that game is actually making money, and they're doing all types of crazy updates and stuff because they actually started listening to their community. And I think it is okay and it's still possible to maintain your vision, or at least somewhat most of your vision, while still giving players what they want. And I think that, like, granted, you have to be able to like decipher between like unrealistic acts and acts that make sense. But I think that this is a like prime example of an opportunity for a community to help build their game, which I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. I just think that, again, they have to be able to draw the line to where we're not doing everything. Like, I think that that's important to say, because I've seen a lot of games open that door, and then the community is voicing everything, and then people are just asking for like things that don't even make no sense. So I just think that that's the thing that they just have to maintain, and it seems like that could work. But even them just mentioning the fact that they're willing to make adjustments to Bloodbath or even rebuffing Revelation, I mean, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes, because I don't know if people are going to say not rebuff it if you get enough requests. That's almost like telling them to tell you to rebuff it, basically. So, hey, we're probably going to see that happen. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, it says long-term, we want PvP to feel fair, dynamic, and rewarding at every level. We're aware of the gap, that the gap can be quite steep for the average player wanting to compete in RTA. So many of our upcoming changes and general focus will be directly aimed at helping players reach a competitive level. We know that our casual players tend to not have enough time to grind or compete at a high level this early in the game, especially when our content can be quite challenging. But we are hoping some of these upcoming changes can help accelerate this at a healthy level. So let me see here. Let's see. It says gear and customization upgrades. Oh boy. This is going to be a big deal. That does not say module forge. Okay. Okay. So it says we're making big changes to how you build and equip your characters. The module essence shop is now being overhauled to allow more flexibility. In addition to the random ways to obtain modules in the module shop, in the future, players can also buy modules with confirmed main attributes and sub attributes. What? Okay. Okay. That's like, okay. So a new gear crafting system is wrapping up development and will be included in the upcoming patch, designed to give you greater control over your builds without relying on RNG alone. This system will be released to the players as an event and will routinely occur at least once per month. Okay, I'm down for that. We'll be releasing more information on the upcoming changes soon. Here is a small preview for now. So let's see. Oh, that's tough. Huh. Okay, so module. Okay, so you can set the main attribute, which is cool. You can select the matrix that you want to craft. Yo, that's tough. Now, the thing is, though, is I'm assuming this is going to be first open to not third matrix bonus. I'm assuming they still want that to be farmed, which I can get. But this is killing some of the RNG, at least in some of the other sets that you have to farm. So I'm not mad at that. And then it looks like you can lock stats that you want to. Oh, so we'll be able to reroll substats. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. Now, it looks like the resource that's going to be required for this, I don't know what this resource is because they didn't give a name, and they said they're going to have more information on it. But it's this resource right here in the corner. It looks like it's like a red crimson like crystal or ore or something like that. But I'm here for that. That's crazy. Oh, that's actually really good too for those that's trying to roll speed. I'm glad they showed that in the picture too, because you can lock your speed so you don't roll that off and then you just roll the random attributes. That's just going to make it much easier for people to fine tune. So that's tough. That's really, really good. Now, it says Infernal Rengoku. Help is on the way. Yo, whoever they have writing these new patch notes is low-key funny because yo, they know Rengoku is cooking people. I don't care, like, bro, I don't even care if you're at endgame. You have to acknowledge Rengoku is mad hard, yo. Like, and random too. Like, that's actually kind of funny. Just like, you said, we know the Inferno Rengoku boss has been a wall for many of you. We're addressing it directly. A new banner is coming that features a character specifically designed to help crush Rengoku, okay, and other challenging PvE content. Each Animus has been tested in various ways to specifically against Rengoku, and we found the content will be much easier. There will be multiple strategies and synergies available with their kits. For example, try them out with Lilium. Okay, so it looks like we are getting double units, but it doesn't specify if both are SSRs. So I'm going to assume possibly this is an SR and an SSR, but they both do look really good, I will say. Now, the thing is that... he said, watches it does not crush Rengoku. Dude, that would just be hilarious. But we'll have to give it a shot, right? Because it says the release of the anima like these is part of a wilder effort to bring more strategic counters and tools into the roster for both PvE and PvP. Now, the thing is that, and like I said, we're going to, check out the homie... Sturby's video, because I guess this is kind of the point that they were pushing at with how they want more units in the game so that there's more diversity in the game. But what I will say is that, like, the game is lucky the gacha is set up a certain way, because in most other games you could not get away with like selling the solution and telling players they just got to pull for the solution. The thing with this game and what makes it so good is the fact that it does not cost a lot. And I'm not saying spend money, but in terms of Animus prototype, to be able to summon on a rate up banner for an RGB unit. And we get enough currency for it to make sense. With them dropping this banner, it's going to be like up for like 2 weeks. Yeah, people should be able to realistically get that character. Like honestly, like if you don't waste resources in this game, because I know there's some people that was just straight up, I'm just pulling just because. Hey, that's your fault. Like that is not the game's fault. Like, I got bored and did a multi. That's your fault, buddy. Like that's not the dev's fault. Okay, so I think that like the way this game is set up, it's actually realistic for you to be able to get these characters, right? So that I think is good, especially like I said, if this is a mix SR and SSR, that's really, really good, because then that also means that we're pulling from two different resources and it's not the same resources. So you're not sitting there like, man, I got to throw, say like you got to do 8 or 16 now because you're dealing with two different characters. It would just be perfect lattice into one character, evolution lattice into the other character, right? Yeah, I'm sorry if I called anybody out. I'm trolling. Listen, hey, it's all right. It's all right. You'll be okay. You'll be all right. It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. Now it says for future events, number 8 here. It says we've seen your feedback regarding recent events, and we want you to know we're listening. Many players have been discussing dissatisfaction with the RNG in our latest Dreamscape event. Although there were many players who were able to receive incredible rewards, we understand this is not the case for everyone. Not every player likes taking risks, and those who would prefer to play it safe should have fixed reward options that do not rely on RNG. And the next run of the Dreamscape will make sure to include fixed reward options for these players. So I think that that's the biggest thing, right? You always want characters, and I would even just say accessibility in general. You always want options, right? Like you always want players to be able to have the ability to choose to do something. You don't want to limit them. That's why I don't think that RNG is a bad thing, but it shouldn't be the only option when it comes down to resource yield. Hey, if I want to gamble and take the chance to maybe double my chances, hey, that's on me. But if that's the only chance, the only option I have, then it's kind of like, all right, well, what do I do with that, right? And then also, like I said, I don't even think it was just so much the RNG. I guess the RNG did kind of lead into like the currency accumulation. I think it was just kind of like how many shards people were able to get. And based off of that RNG, it was kind of affecting the resource yield. But like I said before, like we talked about earlier in the stream, with these events, especially if you're a player that's playing consistently, you should still be doing them, right? Like, granted, some people say YOLO like myself, and I went Dark Portal the whole way. There were other people that went the Gold Portal or the Yellow Portal and still left with like a somewhat like kind of standard amount of currency to be able to still get something from it. But it is still nice, though, that they're addressing that. Hopefully we'll see that kind of spill over into some of the other events, because some of them, like the events up right now, kind of suck. Like if we're being honest, like the meme event, I mean, like we just need to cancel that one, honestly. Like honestly, that, and even the cubic event is a little. It's a little random. I mean, I don't mind it because they're smaller events, but I definitely think on big events, you want those to definitely guarantee more players getting a more concrete resource yield from it. Now, it says global launch celebration. Now, it says our global launch event is around the corner and it's going to be massive. Our game will officially be available in more parts of the world. Stay tuned for playing competitively against regions like China, Japan, South Korea, and more. Now, what does this mean? This number one kills the whole idea of the game dying, right? Like, because if China's coming in, Japan's coming in, South Korea is coming in, I mean, dude, those are massive minds and massive diehard communities that are going to be coming in, mixing in with us. Now, we do have a little bit of an edge, but that does not mean that these players haven't been keeping up with stuff. There's plenty of people that actually did beta tests from those regions, and they just been waiting. They've been waiting to cook. So, yeah, they're going to be going hard, dude. So I think for those that are like chilling right now, it's about to get real uncomfortable because they're going to sweat. They're going to have like crazy strategies. They're going to be up at night looking at the clock and hitting, next match. When you think you holding your rank, they're going to come and snipe it. Like they're going to be those types of players. And I mean, we got those types of players now, but it's just going to be even more of that. So I just think that's just going to be even more fun. And because of the global launch celebration, that just means we're going to be getting more rewards, and we already have developed accounts. So I'm not mad at that either. Might take a little bit for them to actually catch up to us, but I think given a few months, they should be able to actually interact with us a little bit more often in the higher spectrum of the competitive scene. Now, lastly, it says, what's next? It says, this is just a snapshot of what's in motion behind the scenes. We'll be continuing our best efforts forward for all regions so that we can have more exciting competitions in the future. Most importantly, we're listening. Please continue to share feedback while making sure to stay constructive and organized so we can properly digest everything. This directly shapes where we go from here, and that is emphasized for all regions. We all are competing in future tournaments together, so every voice matters. Stay tuned for our upcoming midweek patch notes to hear more about the specific details and dates of topics mentioned today. Thanks for being a huge part of this journey, and we hope to see many of you excited about the future of Etheria. And this is the developer update. Now, you said there's an update from the devs on Discord. Let's actually check that out real quick. I'll swap over. All right, guys, so I went and checked in the Discord. It was actually the same notice, but still, shout out to chat for letting me know because it could have been something else. But yeah, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section, man. I'm interested to see how you guys feel personally with a lot of these different changes. I think the thing that's exciting me the most about a lot of the things that we're going to be seeing is that, one, we have more players coming in, so it is going to be very imperative that they are more on top of how they communicate, how they make decisions, because I would say we had a pretty fair amount of people playing in this release. So with them adding more people to the entire, the entire player base, they have to now be a lot more intentional, because if anything happens, it's not going to be as, and I won't even say the stuff that's happened in this community has been small, but it's going to definitely be much bigger because there's going to be more people. So they definitely have to be on top of everything. But yeah, I would say gear crafting definitely, in my opinion, was worth the wait, because that's, not just something you just like kind of pull out of thin air and try to figure out how you want to implement that. I'm not mad at that. So I would say personally, if you have not, now's the time to make sure that you get back into your grind and all that stuff, like get your account back up to par, because it's about to get real serious. And yeah, just making sure that you're ready for all the next news and content coming out. I definitely would say, hey, make sure you're at least staying consistent. But yeah, guys, that's going to be that with this one. Again, appreciate you, chat, for being as lovely as you usually are. But that's that, guys. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, cool.